This is Angel Reese. Go ahead and play it. She needs a lot of attention. Go ahead.
Yeah, the reason why we watching women's basketball is not just because of one person. It's because of me too, and I want y'all to realize that. Like, it's not just because of one person. A lot of...
Boom, what a move. Okay, so average WNBA viewership, okay, game, 7,300 in attendance, okay? The average Angel Reese game is 10,100, 10,200 they come to watch her. You know what the average...
Angel Reese just made one of the boldest statements we've heard in women's sports all year. If we don't get paid what we deserve, we'll sit out. But that one sentence didn't just make headlines, it sent shockwaves across social media, sports media, and business circles. And here's the wild twist that strike she's talking about. It might be the best thing that's ever happened to the NBA's wallet, because behind all the noise, there's a brutal truth no one's saying out loud. The WNBA isn't a thriving business. It's a charity project, propped up by the NBA for nearly 3 decades. And now, one of its biggest stars is threatening to shut it all down. Let's unpack this mess. Angel Reese isn't just another rookie. She's a brand, a walking headline, the self-proclaimed Bayou Barbie. She helped LSU capture a national title and quickly became one of the most talked about athletes in college sports. With her unapologetic swagger, glamour, and on-court fire, she built a following fast. But here's the thing. Angel Reese made more money in college than most WNBA players earn in their entire careers. Thanks to nil deals with Reebok, McDonald's, PlayStation, and Coach, she racked up an estimated $1.8 million in endorsements. So when she got drafted to the WNBA and saw her rookie salary was $74,000, let's just say she wasn't impressed. On Instagram Live, she said, "The WNBA doesn't pay my bills. I don't even think it pays one of my bills." To some fans, that was honesty. To others, it was entitlement. But then, she took it a step further, threatening a league-wide strike over low pay. And that's when things exploded. The reaction was swift. Critics pounced. Fans clashed online. But one voice stood out, Patrick Bet-David. He's not a basketball player. He's a businessman. And when he saw Angel's comments, he didn't just react. He responded with cold, brutal math. "You're threatening to strike from a league that loses $50 million a year? That's not a threat. That's a gift." And he wasn't wrong. Since 1997, the WNBA has existed, but it's never been profitable. Not once. Every season, the league runs at a loss. Not just a few $1,000s, tens of millions. In 2023 alone, estimates suggest the WNBA lost $40 to $50 million. So how is it still around? One word, NBA. The NBA has been quietly covering the WNBA's losses for nearly 30 years. Every year, they write checks, $10 to $15 million, just to keep the league afloat. It's not a partnership. It's a lifeline. And here's the wildest part. When WNBA games aren't played, during off-seasons or COVID shutdowns, the league actually saves money. Because no games means no travel, no staff, no venue costs, so yeah, if Angel Reese and her teammates walk out, the NBA might be popping champagne. Let's rewind. MLB, NBA, NFL, NHL, they've all had player strikes. In 1994, MLB players walked out, canceling the World Series. In 1998, the NBA had a lockout that shortened the season. The NFL has seen strikes in 1982, 1987, and a lockout in 2011. So what's the difference? Those leagues were pulling in billions when their players demanded more. The NFL now makes over $17 billion a year. The NBA, over $10 billion. Even the NHL brings in over $6 billion. Meanwhile, the WNBA makes around $200 million in total revenue and still loses money. Players in those leagues weren't asking for raises from a losing business. They were asking for a bigger share of an overflowing pie. In the WNBA, there's barely a slice to go around.
Like the girl was a bum, but y'all still want to talk this foolishness. She deserved to be on the Olympic team, and you can't convince me otherwise. But now you ain't saying, she's playing really well. That is what you were saying then. Y'all know who I'm talking to. I ain't gonna call your name, but you know who you were. Caitlin Clark is the real deal. She can actually play. at an elite level. Unanimous Rookie of the Year.
Now let's talk about someone who actually is growing the pie. Caitlin Clark. She's not just a rookie, she's a phenomenon. In 2024 alone, merch sales, up 61%, attendance, up 48%, ESPN viewership, up 170%. Caitlin's games regularly hit over 1 million viewers, some topping 4 million. She's breaking college records and turning pro with more hype than any female athlete in recent memory. And the wild part, some of her teammates seem jealous. Instead of rallying around her, we've seen passive-aggressive comments, shady interviews, and social media jabs. Why? Because Caitlin Clark didn't play the game their way. She didn't come up through the system. She became the system. And here's the truth. Caitlin Clark is doing for the WNBA what no marketing campaign could. She's making people care. So why isn't the league protecting her like the asset she is? Back to Angel. She's frustrated. And on some level, it makes sense. In college, she was a star, making big money off the court. Now she's in the pros, playing harder, traveling more, and making less. But here's the problem. She's not just demanding more pay. She's doing it in a league that's not profitable. And worse, she's doing it while missing layups, getting benched, and going viral for the wrong reasons. One commentator joked, "At this rate, the WNBA should charge her for backboard repairs." Now compare that to Caitlin, dropping dimes, breaking records, and elevating the sport with every game. It's not hard to see who's earning their spotlight.
It's common knowledge that the NBA earns far more money than the WNBA. Do you think they should receive equal pay?
Hell no.
Why?
Because they don't bring in the same revenue. They're not bringing in as many viewers, as much money, as much endorsement deals.
To be fair, my stepdad did tell me WNBA is more popular in other countries than the U.S.
A lot.
This tension isn't new. Years ago, WNBA legend Lisa Leslie joked that NBA players could help close the pay gap by skipping a night at the casino. NBA star Draymond Green didn't find it funny. He fired back. There's no one in the country who supports the WNBA more than NBA players. But if your league isn't making money, don't blame us for not donating more. And he's right. The NBA promotes the WNBA. Its players attend games. The league funds them every year. So, at what point does that support turn into a burden? At what point does the NBA say, "Enough"? So let's say Angel Reese gets her wish. Let's say WNBA players go on strike. What happens? The league saves money. The NBA avoids bad headlines. The public probably doesn't even notice. Because here's the harsh truth. If Caitlin Clark's not playing, most people aren't watching. That's not hate. That's just where the league is right now. Even with all the progress, new teams, more games, better media deals, the WNBA is still not profitable. Until that changes, threats like Angels don't move the needle. They just make headlines. But it's not all bad. In fact, the WNBA is closer than ever to turning things around, with players like Caitlin Clark drawing millions of new fans, with attendance soaring with new broadcast deals for 2026 on the horizon. There's real momentum. But here's the catch. That momentum has a face. And it's not Angel Reese. It's Caitlin Clark. The WNBA has a golden opportunity, right now, to build around its stars, create real value, and finally stop depending on handouts. But it starts with humility. It starts with players understanding that respect, money, and recognition aren't given. They're earned. So here's the final truth. Angel Reese can talk about striking all she wants. She can go viral. She can make noise. But unless the league is profitable, that noise doesn't echo anywhere. Caitlin Clark is over here building something. Angel Reese is threatening to break it. If players truly want better pay, better treatment, and bigger futures, they need to support the reason fans are finally tuning in. And spoiler alert, it's not just flashy outfits or Instagram rants. It's wins, it's ratings, it's performance. So until the league grows, until the business makes sense, the real flex isn't walking out. It's showing up. What do you think? Is Angel Reese right to demand more? Or is she missing the bigger picture? Let us know in the comments. smash that like button, hit subscribe, and turn on notifications because the next chapter in women's basketball is going to be wild.